by CGA, and Corki being picked off here by Detonation. Now, Corki, another one who's had his resurgence, I guess we can say, basically since the Trinity Force was changed around. Obviously, it has since changed again a little bit towards range champions, but still very strong. Shyvana, another one we saw at Intel Extreme Masters Cologne, has been very much prevalent across Asia as well. Just incredibly strong right now, and a ban is probably the best way to go if you don't think you're going to secure it.
I like what we're seeing, though. The Lulu ban, it seems like a little weird, like why would you ever take out a support like that? But actually, President Ma over on Death's side has played her quite a bit. I mean, he used to be, I believe it was the top laner. No, it's not the top laner. He was the mid laner. Or he's a jungler. Sorry, thank you. Wow, he caught me right there. But now he's actually playing support because of the little swaps they've had come in. So they're trying to take him out of his comfort zone, it seems, a little bit here, as we do see another ban come in, Renekton, which he's just one of those champions top lane that you can't really push him out. Even in a 2v1, it's really hard.
He's a pain. Yeah. Renekton is a pain. In a 2v1 lane, he's always fine. Generally, if a Renekton gets rolling, you have trouble stopping him, and that's the real problem with that one. Nidalee was the final ban here from Detonation, taking that one out, but they've left the good old Shen open. Something that, I think into the Extreme Masters Cologne, we saw relatively small amounts of Shen, actually, for the amount that he was up. Yeah. But Shen is always strong and is always dangerous.
And Young Bucks showed us that over on the Copenhagen Wolves side. I mean, you just sit in the lane, you just stay alive as long as possible, keep farming up, maybe get a couple of kills here and there, maybe just obviously get assists from teleporting in, and then late game, you can split push, and they're so hard to really kill here, but the Fiddlesticks being sat on. I remember talking to Krepa during Cologne. He was saying a lot of the amateur teams, a lot of the challenger teams like to use a Fiddlestick support instead of an Annie, which we currently have available right now. And I'm kind of surprised to not see that champion locked in just yet. But for everyone at home, keep in mind this is on the 3.13 patch. And we do have, obviously, Syndra, Olaf, I believe it is Heimerdinger, and Severe all still banned out. So you can't still play those. But it looks like the Fiddlesticks will actually get logged in here.
And a Darius, maybe. A first pick Darius. Wow.
I mean, if you're gonna go in a 1v1 against Shen, it kind of makes sense for that true damage, so the armor won't really do too much to you. But I don't know. I mean, to me, I feel like there's a lot higher priority picks they could go for, and if they do pick up a Jax right there, they could run a jungle Shen, which Mikade from Meteor Makers used to do, or they could potentially run a jungle Jax.
Well, we'll see about this one. We're still, as much as we know about these teams, we can't compare it to what we know about most teams in the world. If we look at the pro bracket, those guys are easy for us to research and to say, this is what they play, this is what they don't play. Been very difficult to really pin down what both of these teams like to play and what their trends are. So it's going to be a lot of surprise and a bit of a learning curve for us all, I think, to watch how these two teams really go at it.
And one thing about being an amateur challenger team, it's not about copying the meta perfectly. It's not about, oh, they played champion A, B, C, D. It's about taking your own style and using it your way with the current meta and trying to make it adapt to what makes you guys do well. And we saw Copenhagen Wolves do that. I mean, they don't play necessarily exactly what you should be doing in the meta, but they outplay the other team so well. They adapt perfectly, and that's what can make you an amazing team.
So let's have a look then for DFM, which stands, of course, for Detonation. Focus Me, and that's probably going to throw me off a couple of times in this game. DFM and just calling them Detonation. But at least you guys know where we're at. Vi Jungle, extremely strong at early levels, great initiation. Overall, very strong pick right now. The Caitlyn, not really a surprise coming in there. Corki was, of course, banned out, and Caitlyn definitely up there in the top 2 or 3 AD carries right now in terms of popularity.
And that makes me even wonder why they don't run Annie support.
We should also mention that Jinx and Lucian are available here as well, like they were in Cologne.
All right, so the Caitlyn, I mean, I've heard from a little birdie that that's actually one of his favorite champions. So obviously going to play something he's really comfortable with. But the Fiddlesticks out, to me, that's still a little bit confusing. I mean, it's not a bad champion. Obviously, you can be very annoying in lane. But I'm trying to think in terms of synergy and in terms of composition, how it'll work later on. And right now, I don't really see too much just yet.
So they're going with no AD carry. So, Jason, this is where you step in and become the expert. We're seeing the Lee Sin, Jax, and Shen. So we thought with Shen, top lane probably. Okay, Jax coming in. Maybe it's a jungle Shen, maybe it's a jungle Jax. Now we see Lee Sin being picked up there. So double bruiser combination coming in, no AD carry.
I think I know what it is. I think we're seeing Jax, Lee Sin in a lane. And we're having Annie like top or middle and Orianna top or middle and then a jungle Shen. I don't know, that's very difficult. I mean, I could check out their runes real quick just to see what they're running, which might give me a little bit of a hint, but I don't know, this is the stuff I like to see though. Just something that completely catch you off guard. If you're not the other team and you're not prepared for this or have played anything similar against it, then you need to be a little bit scared. You need to be able to adapt really quickly in game.
Yeah, and we are on 1.13. Wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. 3.13.
We went back in time.
We went back so far that no one knows what's going on anymore. But yeah, we are on 3.13, so none of the new items, none of the new changes and things like that. If you may be wondering, well, it's obvious that's where they're running that because of how things currently are, but no. We are on 3.13, and it looks like...
This is one of those games that really tests you as a color caster to figure out what they're going through, or what they're doing.
Well, I am happy as a play-by-play guy that I can sit back and rely on your deep knowledge of the situation to guide us through. Is it going to be Orianna? Yeah, AD Orianna, which, you know, technically makes sense. It wouldn't be the first time we've seen AD Orianna, actually. Passive really lends to early damage.
But against a Caitlyn Fiddlesticks, I mean, you outranged. Obviously, you can zone a little bit with the ball. You can spot where Fiddlesticks is with the ball, so you don't really need to use so many pink wards. But what? I'm still just so confused right now. I mean, this is a composition you typically won't see ever.
Ever. And that's the beauty of it. We said it earlier that there's probably going to be a few surprises coming our way. Mid lane Shen.
They're going to lane swap then. They have to lane swap.
So here's the thing: mid lane Shen. We're assuming that this Shen goes mid lane just because Orianna's not there.
He's got to be going solo lane. He's got to be going top or bottom. Sorry, well, bottom isn't a solo lane. He's got to be going top or bottom, and I think it's got to be AD carry support middle because that way Shen will get, or he won't get caught so easily there.
Well, certainly a lot of questions going to be raised during this game, but we are about to get underway.
Usually at this point, the first game of the day.
Yeah, usually I'd ask you at this point, who do you fancy from the comps that we have, Jason? I'm not sure I can really put that question your way at this point, though.
I mean, Double Bruiser really has a lot of setbacks. You don't have great range, or range at all when it comes to... Oh, and as it is an AP Orianna, so you don't have the range that you need, and the extra late game damage that AD carry really brings to life. And since that is an AP Orianna, I don't know. You know what? I'm just going with that. I don't know what lanes they're going to here. This is ridiculous.
God help everyone. If Jason's not knowing it, then I'm certainly not in a position to say anything. But let's have a look at level 1 here and see if any funkiness is going to go down. We can see that the early ward here from Detonation was spotted by CGA. Annie already charging up that stun. The rest of Detonation actually were hanging around the bottom side of their river. And I'll just at this point put out a disclaimer that I am the cameraman here today. And you can flame me on Twitter for all my mistakes.
I do it anyways after the show. No, you do a great job, Joe. But yeah, he's going to be observing here, and hopefully he won't miss any of the action. Hopefully he doesn't miss any first bloods here. No pressure,
No
Joe.
pressure.
But as we do see it, it looks like both teams just kind of lining up. We did have a couple of aggressive wards, as you did mention, for CGA over towards that top side. And there's not a lot of deep wards, which kind of concerns me if you're a DFM fan, because you want to be able to see where they're going for their lanes.
Yeah, I think at this point, knowing the picks, you've got to have some kind of vision to set your lanes up properly. They'll obviously have lanes in mind from this one. Whether they're just going to go for a late invade, whether they're just going to start for a standard jungle here, we'll have to see. But from CGA's side, it looks like they're going to set something really big up here. They've got 5 men headed towards the bottom side of the river right now, and President Ma should spot them. There's the ward down, so this 5-man invade has been spotted. It's 5v4 if they decide to fight, and we can see that President Ma already started to recall there. They've put a ward over the top. Shen's going to go back, so 4 men are going to start off the blue buff.
They're not even going to try to go for a smite still here. That ward going over the wall would have helped out quite a bit to go for that, but instead they're actually coming around the back, so it looks like they want to go for a fight here, Joe.
Yeah, I'm not sure that they had it. Yeah, you got really into that one.
I want to see some fights break out. I want to know what's happening here.
I'm not sure they're going to do that, hence my slowness to get around to it. But blue was taken in the end by Lee Sin, by Peace Might on Lee Sin. We are going to have, you got it right, Jason. Yes. You were on the ball here. Annie Orianna mid lane from CGA up against Cirrus's Gragas.
Okay, I can analyze this a little bit here, Joe.
Annie lies. Sorry.
That wasn't even close.
Annie.
Yeah, okay. I'll let you go with that one. But so what we have here, why this comp usually won't work when you have an AP with a support, is the fact that AP champions will scale more off of levels than in terms of items. And when you're in a dual lane, obviously you can't get the levels as quickly as you would in a solo lane. So Orianna's going to be lacking a little bit in damage compared to her opponent Gragas here, as the game does progress on a little bit later. And it might be a detriment, but depending on how far they keep Seros behind, it actually could work in their favor.
Top lane, of course, will be Darius versus Shen. Darius, not a pick that we rarely see. No, sorry.
It's not that we see often.
Let me rephrase that. Not a pick that we often see.
Yeah, and it's a very niche pick. I think in this situation it works out quite well, just for the fact that, well, he got to lane first, so he was able to get level 3 before 228 could even get level 2. He has true damage when he's level 6, so obviously he can just eat through any armor that Shen does have. And he can interrupt Shen if he's ulting away. Like, there is a possibility for that. Then when you get a Darius who just goes straight tank, he's really hard to kill, and he still always has that huge chunk of burst damage, or true burst damage, later on.
And as we can see, the scoreboard is all kinds of crazy, but I'm not really sure how I remedy that at this point. I've got to be honest with you. I'm not sure where I should switch people to make it any better. The supports are lined up, the junglers are lined up. Everyone else is kind of having a bit of free-for-all at this point. But yeah, Godquiet and Sean in the mid lane. Orianna and Annie, with Orianna taking, of course, all the farm from that one. Jax at this point only got 3 CS, and that's because he's been in this 2v1. We did see Peacemite go down there with the Lee Sin, but he's not going to get any kind of opportunity to get in there. Just giving Red a bit of time to get on the farm.
And Imitai is doing a good job of trying to harass Red as much as possible. I mean, he's, like I said, 7 CS. He does have that Doran shield. But right now, we do have Vi coming in. Annalise going for a gank bottom here.
Yeah, oh, the fear. The fear coming in. That could be it here. Red going very low. Piltover doesn't land, and Peacemite has managed to walk away as well. That Piltover, I think, would have had the damage if that would have connected to pick up the kill. That was very, very close from Detonation in this one. They've been thrown a bit of a curveball with this whole setup that CGA have gone for. They're going to go for an early tower.
And if he gets caught here, if he loses these doubles, if they do want to go for the dive, they do have the potential to tank it up with that Fiddlesticks if they land the fear. But they're going to get the turn instead. You're right, Joe. So they're going to go for that early extra gold here, but I don't know if that actually works in their favor. If Jax gets left alone in a lane, you know how much of a nuisance he can be later on if you don't hurt him in farm.
Well, they're going to have to back away from that one. Their minions all going to be cleared out. Annie started to move down this bottom side, actually, to maybe have a look. That was Sean moving in there. It's left Godquiet all alone in this mid lane. So, you know, going for bruisers, no AD carry. This Orianna is building AP. We can see Doran's ring start there. We'll have to see if, you know, his build changes at all, considering the fact of what they're going with.
I would imagine it shouldn't, just because you already have 2 ADs with the Jax and with the Lee Sin, even though Jax is mostly a hybrid and Shen is kind of AP damage, but they're going to need that burst potential out of Orianna. They have quite a bit of sustain out of Jax, but Shen, once that taunts down, I mean, that's pretty much it. Lee Sin can do quite a bit as the fight progresses on, but they're looking just for that one kill, it seems, just to pull them together, get that Shen taunt across it, and then kind of just kill someone with the anti-stun behind it.
Well, that's the great thing about the Gragas pick last for my eyes in this composition, is that Shen, Lee Sin, and Jax are all going to be right in top of their want to get in. So unless they lock down the Gragas with that initial taunt or stun, then he's going to be able to blow them all back at level 6 with that barrel, which he's about to hit. He's level 5 at this point.
Yeah, and blue buffs will be coming up in about a minute here as we already have a ping going down. Looks like DFM want to be able to contest it, want to be able to control it, and you know, looking at the bottom lane just a tad little bit, you see Jax is sitting there in all the farm. Like, he's getting the levels, which is really important for him as he's getting pushed out finally by President Ma, but he's keeping up in levels decently well, and that's still not a good thing if you're over on DFM side.
Well, we'll see how he manages to deal with this, because Vi is coming down that bottom lane as well. Annie is in the near vicinity, though, and actually has that stun built up as Red going to dive in. They're going for Vi here. They're going to try and lock down Annalise, who will try and get away. Here comes Shen as well. The taunt should be in position. The fear will go over one. There's the cleanse from Imitai to get away, but Annalise, the target, surely going to go down. Will fall here. First blood comes in for Shen. Great pickup from CGA, and really using that composition that they've put together here for their glory. Are they going to go straight for Dragon?
They have to. They committed so much for that gank. They used the Shen ultimate. They used Jax with the flash. Look at the summoners. They're down pretty much across the board. They have to take this here. And in the meantime, you're seeing the rest of the team of DFM. Well, you're seeing at least the top lane push out quite heavily here. And even Seros coming in for potentially steal, a little bit of harass. And right now, they're doing a great job of it.
Oh, barrel rolling in. Dragon being left as it is. There's a taunt coming out. The barrel did come down. Dragon hasn't been taken out here. Peacemite going very, very low. CGA falling pretty low across the board, but Jax dives in just to zone them off. The Dragon not resetting will be taken down here by CGA, and they're going to try and get away from this one. And honestly, I think they're going to be able to get away. Shockwave will lock up Imitai and President Ma, and that pretty much secures the escape from this one. First Blood and the Dragon going down for CGA.
And in the meantime, we're seeing Gorira actually the top lane push that turret down. It's already below half-life, so he's trying to take it back a little bit, trying to even things up, and that definitely would help. But in the meantime, because of how low that CGA got, they're forced to back out, and that gives DFM the opportunity to get some damage on this middle turret.
Yeah, hanging in for that one. Sean actually out of mana at this point. That could be a bit of a problem for them going forward. We could see that Vi already backing off. He's going to have herself a blue buff steal from this one. I think they've got enough damage here in this mid lane to keep that turret safe, but not in the top lane. Gorira 13 on Darius manages to get that one, and Imitai on Caitlyn in the bottom lane will take that one. So 2 outer turrets being picked up here in exchange for that First Blood on the Dragon. It puts DFM in the lead.
Yeah, it really wasn't the greatest of trades for CGA, but they went for a ballsy play. They wanted to make something happen, but what's really worrying for me right now is, Joe, look at Darius' farm. He's sitting at 70 CS. If he split pushes his entire time, you just send way more than one person at him to kill him. I mean, he could potentially take a 1v2 and win that one flat out. So it's going to be really hard for anyone at CGA to stop that. I mean, Jax, 21 CS, he does not have the damage or survivability to go up against him. Neither does Lee Sin. And that really can be a huge winning point for DFM if they do use that the right way.
Well, we see from wards, look at that, 2 pink wards. Actually, if you look at the timer on them, they're pretty close on that. So not sure exactly what happened with that one earlier on, but it'd be a telltale sign now to see how Detonation. They've got 2 turrets down on the outer ring, and how they can apply that pressure now by getting wards into the enemy jungle and really starting to strangle out CGA.
And this is where kind of North America, at least to me, and Europe kind of differentiate, is that in North America, you can take the turrets early, but the teams don't seem to really do anything with it. They don't really pressure it, except, you know, maybe a handful of maybe Vulcan and Cloud9. And right now, DFM, since they've been playing on the North America server so much, they need to know how to use this position that they're currently in and carry through with it. I mean, we always talk about how teams have such a hard time of closing games out. This potentially could be one for DFM.
Well, we saw Vi actually coming around there. They tried to deal with Shen, got 228 down to less than half HP, but not quite able to finish things off. Jax knows that he can push this lane out, but actually can't push too far into things. Shen did actually burn his flash in that last engagement, by the way, in the top lane.
Yes.
So while we've got a bit of time here, we should maybe have a look through some of the items coming in. I'm gonna change this here and just put Orianna and Gragas at the same. I think that makes it easier for everyone to really compare to things. Obviously, that leaves us Shen and Caitlyn as a comparison for the bottom lane, but there's not much more we can really do from that. 83 to 63 CS between those 2 AP champions in the mid, between Orianna and Gragas. We see that Lee Sin 44 CS, a little bit more in the jungle than Vi, but it's that top lane where the real big discrepancy comes in, 83 to 40, plus the fact the AD carry and Shen are a little bit different, as we are going to see Godquai here in a lot of trouble. There we see Annalise will go down to the tower. They tried to dive in. Barrow will get the kill for Seros, and I'm not sure that 228 is going to have the damage for this. He realizes that himself as well. Got the double buff there, Seros, as well. So that actually leaves CGA in the lead in terms of kills. But overall, I think not the worst trade in the world for Detonation.
Yeah, and in the end, they pull Shen away again. 228 forced to go help out another lane, so he's not farming up, and that means Gorilla in the top lane can just keep pushing up as much as possible. Right now, oh, Caitlyn getting caught here.
Yeah, but Tibbers actually did land there.
They didn't know.
Stun. Yeah, he didn't know because the 90 caliber net had already pushed Imitai away into the brush, so didn't have the vision that Tibbers had got that stun there, and I think he obviously thought that he'd missed that one, so they didn't follow on.
I thought he did.
Yeah, I thought he had as well. Yeah,
and that's really unfortunate, but I don't know if they would have had the damage in the end to kill him. But right now, I mean, I keep talking about this, but I really want to focus on it because this is where DFM, their plan seems to be. Let Darius split push top, group up everywhere else, and force the rest of the team of CGA to group up against you. And when you have a 1v1 of a Darius for Shen, Darius will be able to win that one out, especially when Shen doesn't... I mean, he was forced to use Flash to get away in that last little fight that they had in the top lane. And as you see right there, he's running away right now, and he cannot deal against this damage.
Having a bit of a hard time with that one, that's for sure. Gragas actually walking down towards this bottom side here as well, just causing a few problems for Peace Might on Lee Sin, getting the farm from the lane while he's there as well. Finally, we do see some kind of challenge to this Darius in the top lane. And by some kind of challenge, I mean not really much of a challenge, because Red has walked over this ward there by the blue buff, giving his position away, and we'll see Gorilla 13 continue to farm and push that lane out. And as Jax comes back across, seen by the ward again, again, just backs away. Safe.
CGA needs some sort of answer to that, whether it be pink wards, you know, buying an Oracle, getting vision over your own jungle here, as we do see Sean being forced away. And they're going to go for this turret here, and because there's a two-man, or because Jax is already top lane, so they know they have the man advantage.
Yeah, can't do anything about this one. That's going to go down. Assault and Battery coming in onto Sean there. That was risky. The Gragas barrel not really doing what they wanted, but look at the damage onto Lee Sin. He's still burning here, will be able to get away from things. A shockwave comes down, but it doesn't do any damage at this point. And that is DFM walking out of that one, almost taking down the Lee Sin.
And that shockwave you just saw there was a direct result of having that 2v1 mid lane that we were talking about earlier. He needs the levels, which he's currently behind right now, 8 to 9. He needs that level 2 ultimate, or rank 2 ultimate at level 11. He just doesn't do too much right now. He does have quite a bit of farm, which is definitely a saving factor here. And Dragon coming up in about 5 seconds. This should be the next point of a fight breaking out right now. But with DFM committing so many ultimates just now in that last little bit of an engagement, they can't really contest.
Yeah, CGA here have kicked this one off. And Stan United will be coming up here soon as well, though 228 is actually already down there. And you see that Detonation have decided, you know what, we can't challenge for that at all. We're just going to have to let this one go. So that's the Dragon going back over to CGA. And if you look at the gold, it's less than 1,000 between them at this point.
Yeah, and that's mostly due to DFM getting those 3 turrets that they currently have down compared to the 2 dragons that CGA has. And we do have a relatively, well, no, not relatively, very early Oracle coming in for Peace Smite on Lee Sin here. So he's definitely trying to take away any vision he possibly can, but he hasn't visited the top side of the jungle just yet, which has been hurting out quite a bit. And you're also seeing kind of a downside to the double, or not the, well, without an AD in your team for CJ, is that look at the farm split across the team. Like right now, Red has nowhere to farm except the jungle. So when he does that, it takes away from Peace Smite, so he's even squishier. He doesn't have an item built up just yet, so when he goes into the back on a DFM, you know, to kick someone out, he's going to get blown up right away. We just saw that happen in the last fight alone.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see how this whole Shen split push counters that of Darius, because if they push opposite lanes and a fight breaks out, they have the Shen available should he have Stan United there, whereas Darius can't be involved in that fight if they keep that up.
Yeah, if that happens, I almost want to guarantee that DFM, with the amazing wave clear they have with Gragas and Caitlyn, they're just not going to go for a fight. They're going to just push out the waves as much as possible, not let the other team siege away, because how are they going to siege? Well, as you see, Orianna getting caught.
Yeah, this is bad news with that Darius coming in. There's a shockwave going down. Cleanse was used, but the dunk from Guerrera will pick up that kill, and it's not over. They're going to keep going for this one. Peace Smite actually following in onto Annalise, has to flash away, but here comes the rest of the team, and Peace Smite has found himself in all kinds of trouble. President Mar on the bottom side. Tipper's used for just the support. Not sure that's really what they wanted to go for. The Assault and Battery comes in. Peace Smite's going to go down eventually in this one. Somehow he's still managing to stay alive. There we go. Finally finished off by Zeros, and that will be a 2-0 overall for Detonation.
And they finally get the kill lead here. They left Jax all on the top lane to actually go for some farm, but it works out in their favor, picking up those kills. And you know, as you're saying before, if they do go for the simultaneous split push with Darius at the top lane, Shen at bottom, how is CJ ever going to siege your turret down? I mean, against the wave clear that DFM has, and without having an AD carry, it's almost impossible.
Yeah, and Darius is just a bit of a machine. Let's have a look at his gold. 1,400 he's currently sat on. I'll call it 1,500 for good times. He's going to head home, pick himself up that Sunfire Cape, which is only going to make him more effective at pushing down those waves. If we look at the ward coverage as well, quite a lot out on the field, but mostly from those sight stones from earlier on. We'll see how they all change things out a little bit later.
The wards, at least what we do see for CGA, they're down in a, I want to say a little bit of an awkward fashion. Like, it doesn't really show what they want to do or where they want to push.
Yeah.
I think they're mostly just there for Dragon, just to get the, you know, the vision, just so they can take it cleanly. But they're not really going for any aggressive wards at all. They're not trying to necessarily push out. And, you know, you can talk about that on the DFM side as well. They don't really have anything aggressive down just yet. They do have an Oracle, we do see Vi getting caught.
Yeah, face check from Annalise there. Here comes Gragas, though, going to split the team up. They go in towards Peace Smite, and now Guerrera 13 headed in towards the brush. And we've got a lag. And things just blew up. 2 men down. Oh, God. Yeah, didn't really get to see what happened in that fight, but it was basically Darius, I think, coming in there. He did use his ultimate, we can see from the cooldowns, picking himself up 1 kill from that. They're now 5-2 in the lead. And honestly, this is looking very good for Detonation. Imitai caught out a little bit down on the bottom there, was feared away by President Mar, but they're going to keep pressure up onto this inner turret. I tell you what, we're only 18 minutes into this game. DFM are not slow by any means.
Yeah, they're definitely trying to go for the win here. I think they realized that they kind of outpicked the other team, especially with that Gragas coming in as that last pick, as you mentioned. And they're trying to go for this turret here. We do have Annie on the side, though. They could go for a Flash Tibbers, but they don't have the damage behind them. They don't have any damage to really back this one up.
No, they need to have Vi there, I think, though, to make sure they're safe against this one. And I think the faster that they close out this game, the better, because the shockwave's only going to get stronger. Jax, we know, is just going to get hitting harder and harder and harder. If they close this one out soon, within the next 10 minutes, let's say, they're going to be, they should be stronger on all fronts.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that one. And it comes down to what's the next play? Like, what do they want to go for? Baron, it's always one of those shiny things that, like, hey, it looks like, you know, we can take that and we can feel confident diving with it, but most teams don't necessarily need it. It's about, do you feel confident enough to do it without it, or do you feel like you're a good enough team to not necessarily need it? But we do see Darius is going pretty much full tank. Even Seros able to almost get his death cap done. We do have Imitai going for his Infinity Edge, but it's not done just yet. And considering, you know, we're 19 minutes in, not a lot of farm on the board yet. A lot of fighting and a lot of rotating's been happening, but not a lot of kills.
I like this, though. A lot of wards on this bottom side. Obviously, that turret's already taken, but they've got vision of the bottom side of CGA's jungle at this point, which means that they can focus maybe towards that top a little bit more. We just saw Shen pushing out that bottom lane once again, but you were, I think, pointing out rightly that if you look at the AD carry for a team that's 5-2 up, 2,000 gold in the lead, not a big item coming out just yet for Caitlyn.
Yeah, and I mean, she's only getting stronger with time, being an AD carry. She almost has Infinity Edge done right now, and that might be the little bit of a power spike that DFM's waiting for before they want to go for a push. But still, Darius in the top lane, 161 farm, 162. He's not leading, but he is an immovable object at this point. He's even building some magic resist against an Orianna that doesn't really have much at all. I think he's sitting on 144 AP. But right now, Dragon come up in about 5 seconds, and it looks like DFM want to take their chance at getting it, and with 2-8 top lane, they might have a good chance at it.
We just saw a pink ward being put down there to clear things out. There is an Oracle on Sean, which makes him even more of a juicy target. Take down that Annie and stop that from happening, and the red buff is going to be taken away there by DFM. We did see Lee Sin come in, throw out the Sonic Wave to maybe just have a hint at stealing, but that didn't quite work out, and that will be, yeah, almost 900 gold now for Imitai. So he's going to be able to pick up that Infinity Edge on his way back home, pushing out this bottom wave as well, just to make sure that Shen doesn't get too close to the turret. And speaking of turrets, not one has gone down yet from CGA's side, and we can see that actually all of them sat at around about half HP. They've not really made a dent on that front.
And that problem comes back into their composition. They don't really have anything to push out against Darius. They don't have an AD carry to siege any turrets. They don't really have a strong AP mid because, you know, he's held back in levels a little bit when they ran that 2v1 middle. So right now they're just kind of hurting based on composition alone, and I'm not really sure what they can do, bar a mistake from DFM's side, to kind of get control of this game. Maybe a sneaky Baron, but they don't really have the damage to do it either.
Yeah, that worries me as well. I mean, we've got Jax now with a Trinity Force, always a good sign for a team that has a Jax on their side. And with that, we'll actually pick up their first tower of this entire game so far with that push there on the bottom lane. We're now going to see them just backing off a little bit at this point, but they're behind here, 2,500 gold almost, and it's still not masses. But as you said, the composition leaves, in my eyes, a lot to be desired from CGA's side.
Yeah, and I mean, Double Bruise is a little bit more common in 3.14, but obviously we're on the 3.13 patch here, so it's not really going to work out too much. But we did have a ping come down over on CGA's side for Baron, but DFM obviously wasn't doing it, and they're going for a blue control here yet again.
Yeah, and they're probably going to get this one as well. Darius actually is going to pull Lee Sin into this one, but they care more about that blue buff. But this is going to be a 3-on-4 as Tibbers does go down, but the rest of the team being zoned out. There's the Gragas barrel to push them away. Now Shen going to be attacked. He forced a flash over, but only into the rest of the team. Fiddlesticks manages to get the fear down. The barrel picks up the kill, and that's a 1-for-0 with the blue buff stolen away. Again, this Orianna not had the blue to work with.
That was a 3-on-4 fight. DFM only had 3 people there, but the power of Gorira was enough to really hold them back. He literally just sat between him and 3 members of CGA for the rest of his team, and they just stayed away because they didn't have the damage. They could not survive the true damage coming out of him. And this is DFM just bowling their way through.
Well, I'm not sure how CGA are really going to hold on to this one. They have Jax maybe to jump in there. You can throw a Shockwave out, which is going to be doing a bit more damage right now since the workings of that Rabadon's Death Cap have been picked up by Godquite. But, you know, still, we just saw there, this Darius is bullying a team of bullies, and that is not a good sign.
It really isn't. It's shown how the game's gone. It's shown how CGA kind of potentially lost at picks and bans. But right now, I mean, they're trying to push out. They're trying to get a little bit of extra gold here. But again, without an AD carry, you can't siege turrets down that quickly. Having Saros be so fast around the map with his E makes it really hard for them to take a turret down quick enough.
I can see there, Saros just sat underneath the tower, quite happily farming up as he goes. And he's going to throw the barrel out there. They go for Godquite, who's going to be... Oh, they forced out the Stan United. They didn't need to use that there. That was a very premature call, I think, from CGA.
Yeah, it definitely
That stops Shen's split push potential completely now.
It definitely does, and that's going to hurt them quite a bit. And he's starting to get to a point where he's relatively tanky, where Darius shouldn't be able to kill him as easily anymore. And you can see, within these levels, no one's even hit level 16 just yet. No one has that rank 3 ultimate, and when that happens, which DFM is the closest man there on Saros, his damage is going to get spiked up even more, but they're already starting to siege away this turret. They want to take this down, and as long as Imitai plays this safely, they should be able to take it.
Yeah, Analyst there right at the front, and Red getting the ball on his head. That could be the one saving grace if they manage to get the stun down from the Jax. If they get off a good shockwave that pulls enough people into it. I think the AD carry in particular, they have to get out of this fight, because otherwise Caitlyn's just going to sit at the back and absolutely destroy them all.
I'm really worried is that CGA doesn't have enough sustained damage to fight. I mean, you pointed out before, Godquite hasn't gotten blue buff. He hasn't been able to have that. He has the cooldown reduction and the regen, obviously, from the Athenes and Holy Grail, but in the middle of a team fight, it's not going to be enough. And even if they do land their burst combo perfectly, I'm honestly not convinced it's going to be enough to kill anyone on DFM unless Imitai kind of plays it a little bit too close and gets caught.
This could be risky, though. They've sent Vi top, so they know this is a 5v4, and we can see that CGA pushing out instantly from that one, seeing Vi. But now they're going to see, okay, Shen's down bottom, doesn't have Stan United available, used it a little bit earlier on in that mid lane to protect Godquite on Orianna. That didn't work out how they were planning, and the barrel just did another ton of damage there to Godquite. Either way, this is, in my opinion, DFM's game to win right now unless they make mistakes.
I completely agree, and right now I'm actually not really sure why Vi was the one to go top lane, since Darius can wait for a little bit quicker, but it looks like they want to hit this outer turret here before going. I think they
were scared that when it was a 5v4 they were going to dive on him, and Darius offers a lot more in that scenario at this point.
But this turret should be able to go down, but we see a fight breaking out.
Yeah, big one as well. We see the Gragas barrel coming down. Godquite going to get focused. There is a shockwave. Locks up two of them, but Guerrero at the front is going to dunk down on one. Dunks down on the second. Didn't quite get the kill. The ignite and the bleed will be enough. It's a double for Darius. Shen now getting pulled into the thick of things. He should be able to just walk away from that one, but just not really coordinated there enough. DFM walking into this mid lane. Saros actually tanking this one up right now. It wants to be Darius if they're going to tank it at all. And this should be the first inhib, although Shen and Lee Sin are both coming in. Yeah, Detonation playing it safety side to back off.
But still, that fight, that was a CGA engagement. They're the ones that kind of went for it, and in the end, they lose those 3 members. Even catching Emily's down, I mean, yeah, they got 1 kill, but you see the problem just kind of show itself. And it's ugly face of Darius. He just sat there in between them. He just got his stacks up, ulted them, and just chunked them so hard that it didn't really matter. Like, even though CJ has a decent amount of tankiness in the form of Jax, Lee Sin, and Shen, it just doesn't survive against the true damage.
And look at the wards. There's a lot of wards down right now from Detonation, pretty much covering everywhere that they've been pushing. That move, they were trying to get onto that inner turret. It didn't quite finish it off. It's got 58 HP, which is just pretty much 1 hit from anyone headed into that one. So that's a goner anytime soon. Shen actually pushing that lane back out. President Maya with the Oracle's going to have a good time because Annie's just come out of the base, warded a lot around Baron, and they're probably all just going to get taken straight down.
And this is where experience kind of comes into play for DFM and CG at the same time. For DFM, they can pink ward Baron. They can put maybe a pink ward or 2 deep into the enemy jungle of CGA, and then just bait them in for Baron if they want. Or they could just go for kind of a split push onset mill inhibitor, or at least go for a 5-man onset mill inhibitor. After that last fight, they know they're stronger than them, take that down, and then kind of go for a Baron after that if they want. I mean, this is pretty much like you said before. It's kind of their game to lose right now. It's whenever they decide to go for that final victory, but every second that they kind of delay it, it gives CGA a chance to get back in the game.
Oh, I saw that mid lane tug of war going on. The wards still being cleared out here by President Mart. He's got the safety of that fear and able to silence if he does get caught out, but certainly won't survive being locked up by anyone. Gragas has shown down in his bottom lane now, just trying to get Red out of the way. Control this Jax, who is now pretty strong. Blading up towards that, building up to that blade of the Ruin King. He is blade. He'll be blading up soon. And also, obviously, got that Trinity Force in as Sean almost getting caught there by Annalise. They were looking for an opening on that side of things. And again, that didn't quite work out for him. If you look at the kills as well, 4 for Darius, 4 for Gragas, 1 there with Caitlyn, who's now got that last Whisper added in to the Infinity Edge as well. I can't see how they can compete with the damage that DFM can put in there.
Completely agree. I mean, I want to be able to say that CJ has a chance here in these fights, but we've seen it already, that they can't really win them. And barring a huge mistake, DFM should be able to have this game in this, at least the first game in this best of 3. As they're going for the inhibitor here, we do see Shen towards the top side, actually split pushing away. We might see CJ go for a last stand, but the inhibitor, it's falling.
Yeah, they're not really doing a lot about that one to stop that one from happening, but now they're coming in there. Shen getting over the middle. Annalise taking a lot of damage, but there's the Gragas barrel. Shockwave will pull in too. Fiddlesticks joins the party as well. A good Tibbers gets into the middle of them. This is not half bad from CGA, but look at Imitai at the back. The AD carry has been free range on the backside of them. They've managed to wipe out most. There's the ace in the hole through. Vi should be able to finish off this one while the rest of the team push around through on towards those Nexus turrets. Eventually gets the kill. There is the ace. A little bit of a delay there at the end, but that will be now 14-6 in kills. With the AD carry and a couple of minions, they could have these Nexus turrets away.
And look at those death timers, 40 seconds on 228. The rest have about 10 to 20 seconds. They're going to be able to respawn here momentarily, but the damage has been done. They're getting those Nexus turrets down, and Imitai doesn't have any attack speeds, but he's still chunking those turrets. One is going to fall here. I'm not sure if he's able to close the game out just yet, but they're getting to the point where they can.
Well, the first Nexus turret went down, and they'll certainly be happy enough with that one, not really losing too much when it comes to that last fight. And for a moment, it looked good there for CGA. They waited with Tibbers. They put him down nicely. Shen came in, picked the targets. We saw Fiddlesticks, though, kind of jumping back in. But the problem is the lack of an AD carry in that team is a bad thing. And on the other side, the lack of focus onto the enemy AD carry is the other point.
Yeah, I mean, you saw Imitai. He just sat in the back. He was able to free attack the entire time. And I mean, CGA, they kind of don't have a lot of sustain. They got the burst. They got the combo they wanted. Maybe not necessarily perfectly, but they weren't able to kill the key targets. I mean, they got Darius down finally, but not before Imitai had full health and just sat there attacking away. But right now, Baron being started up here, and no one on CGA is in a position to defend against this.
Now, it's down to half already. We did see Annie just having a bit of a peek there. Sean just going to put that ward over the top, but by the time he actually gets in there, he'll see that actually that's all gone down. Barrel going to come over. Sean flashed it, but did get hit. Ace in the hole, blocked by Shen. Nice move. Annalise was looking for the follow-up, but with Baron on, with that inhibitor down, we actually saw the lane push back up all the way to here, but that will obviously slowly push itself back. I mean, Detonation only have to work and wait for those super minions to start coming in.
Yeah, and right now, I mean, they do see Red, split pushing, but they don't really care. I mean, he's going to maybe get that turret down, maybe get the inhibitor turret of the second one, but in the meantime, they're going to get inhibited themselves. They're going to get another next turret since there's only one standing, and they could probably just finish up this game in this next team fight. If they go for a fight here with Baron buff, they're going to win it.
Yeah, this is very dangerous to be fighting for this one on one side of things. Oh, going all the way through there with the Assault and Battery. Shockwave does come in with Tibbers on the top side. Decent taunt as well, but it's all on to Darius. He's a tanky beast right now. They'll quite happily take all the ultimates. Detonation, they've lost health on Gragas basically, and on the support. Okay, Garura is down to half HP. There's the barrel though to pull in. That is the Jax going down. Shen got into the middle of them, but he's going to suffer. Pulled back in there as well. He's going to get dunked down on by Garira, and that is just 3 men left standing. Super minions coming in. This should be game.
Yeah, they should be able to take this last Nexus turret down. Who's going to defend against them right now? As you see, Annalise actually just pretty much keeping them away. What a pull-in from Darius. But they're not going to get the kill. They're going to get the victory at least.
Yeah, Fiddlesticks there came in at the backside as well. It doesn't matter either way. That will be game number 1 going towards Detonation. The Japanese side starting out strong, and you can see how much it means to them here. First game ever on an event, you know, in a real life setting. I guess you could say they've only met each other for the first time in real life coming into this event, and it's a great start for them. I mean, I think on one side you've got to look at the CGA picks and think, what were they thinking from that? Like, how was it going to work for them?
Don't look at me. I mean, you can't not have an AD carry in this current, at least, state of the game. You need to be able to run something like that to be able to siege turrets down. I mean, if we talk about turrets, 10-2 in favor of Detonation. They could not siege anything away. The only chance they did get a turret down was when the other team wasn't there to defend against it. And, you know, one thing I do like, though, about DFM is that they adapted really quickly. They were pushing turrets down fast. Like, they knew exactly what they wanted to do. They had a game plan with that Darius, and they executed it really well.
Yeah, they did, and they followed on. Lots of wards down. You know, as you said, grouping up correctly, making sure that they dealt with the Shen when he started to push a little bit on that bottom side with the Jax. And they were very reactive. You know, they reacted well to things. At 17 minutes in, we were already starting to, you know, look forward at those inner turrets. I think the bottom and top lane were the only inner turrets that were actually left there. And if we look at individual performance, Siros on Graga 6-0-7. Guerrera 5-1-6 in the end on Darius did finally, of course, get taken down, but he had 200 CS from pushing out that top lane constantly. Really well executed, but it is a best of 3,
yes.
So we can't count CGA out just yet.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, you know, what do they want to ban out differently this time? And I don't think it's about banning out things differently. I think it's about picking an AD carry this time. You know, maybe running a little bit more standard lanes because, I mean, the bans are pretty standard that we saw. I mean, you have to take away Siobhan right now where teams will just completely take advantage with you with it. And I don't know. I mean, coming into this next game, they have to, I guess, rethink their plan. I'm really curious, though, what their game plan was coming into this about running this kind of composition because it didn't really work at all.
So the information that I had as well from CGA is slightly different on their roster, and I'm wondering if they've had some problems there leading into the event and why that's a little bit differently. I had Red in the top lane who played the Jax in that last game. I had 228 in the jungle who actually played Shen in that last one. Then Seng, who's completely missing from the roster. Godquai was the AD carry, played Orianna. Thought we might see an AD Orianna coming out of him. Sean support is in there. So I'm not sure if any little changes happen in that one. Maybe we can hear that later on from Shocks with the players. Either way, that didn't work from CJ. They have to go back to a more standard meta.
I like how you pointed it out, though, because actually, even on DFM side, we had different rosters come in. And that can really affect you as a team, you know, whether or not it's your composition or just kind of practicing together, knowing how each other plays. I mean, obviously, CGA, we know them to be a better team, or at least a good team, but they're just not showing it right now.
Well, we shall be finding out, of course, as we head into Game 2 in just a few minutes, whether CGA can pull something out the bag, go with probably a different lineup in Game number 2. And